Save the music for the cowards. I want to feel the Machine's song. I want that.
I've got a quick question for you, alright? I wanna hear your thoughts, I wanna know what's on your mind. I've got a quick question for you, alright? The answer's not important, I'm just glad that we could talk tonight. So what's your favourite? Who did you get? When will I be remembered? Was it ever? Where did all the oh, forget it. Soren, Daniel O'Brien, two best friends and comedy writers. If there's an answer, they're gonna find it. I think you'll have a great time here. I think you'll have a great time here.
Soren, what's up, man?
Oh, hey, man. How's it going?
We're right in it. We're right in the podcast.
We jumped right in this time. How are people going to know you got a book?
I know. We'll be coming out of the theme music.
Yeah.
And just dropped in the middle of a conversation.
And then
it's this conversation.
I know, what a trashy conversation.
Thanks to ASPCA Pet Insurance for supporting Quick Question. To explore coverage, visit aspcapetinsurance.com/question. This is a paid advertisement. Insurance is underwritten by either Independence American Insurance Company or United States Fire Insurance Company and produced by PTZ Insurance Agency Limited. The ASPCA is not an insurer and is not engaged in the business of insurance.
I did enjoy the way you'd ordinarily start the podcast with a so.
Yeah. I tricked you.
Then right into it.
Yeah,
This
a
is
classic
really nice.
misdirect.
Daniel, how are you? How are you doing? Haven't we talked in a long time?
It seems like it, right? Have we not? Did we?
Yeah, we skipped
an episode.
No, well, we're still gonna hit it, but
yeah.
we have a usual record date. This is a little peek at how the sausage is made behind the curtain. By the way, we make all the sausage behind a single curtain. It's not very sanitary.
No.
We have a usual day that we record. We missed that day by like 4 days, and turns out nothing died. The world didn't end. So I mean, we could just keep pushing it.
Yeah.
See what happens.
We will eventually arrive at our final form, which will be doing the podcast live, because we can't. Yeah. We won't miss our release schedule, but we will keep pushing the record over and over again until eventually, we just have to go live on YouTube with a phone call and hope that people enjoy that.
Oh, I'm really tempted. That would be to have a call-in show is
oh yeah.
It's clear to me now why call-in shows exist, is because you just run out of shit after a while.
Yeah, that's how you can do Loveline for 10,000 years, assuming Loveline is still on.
I don't know. I don't think so. I think Dr. Drew turned into kind of a weirdo.
Yeah, Dr. Drew sang the national anthem at a Dodgers game that I went to. I think that was my first clue that I was like, I don't think this guy is just like, I'm going to be an expert medical professional giving people useful tips. I think this guy wants to be very famous, and I don't think we're giving that part of his whole arc enough attention or credit.
Ads pop up sometimes for him, and he's like, hey, you want to lose weight? And he's looking pretty jacked, and he's like, throw away these, and he'll throw away, I don't know, celery or a bag of chips, and I'm like, what are we talking about here? What are we doing?
He's always been partnered with like Adam Carolla or Mike Catherwood for a while, and that goes a pretty long way to making you think like, oh, this is just like a normal doctor whose circumstances have thrust into the spotlight, so I guess he's going to give his measured advice. I was like, no, I think there's probably failed actor in your background, and this has been your way to get invited to the cool parties.
It's interesting you talk about the Dodgers, Dan, because I'm going to a Dodgers game tonight. I'm going to the Dodgers versus Rockies. Now, this time of year, I don't really keep track of like what the fuck is happening in baseball, because there's still, as I understand it, there are 780 games left to be played.
Yes, that's correct.
And so I don't follow it very closely. I'll wait until October, and then I'll be like, all right, well, who are we dealing with? Who we got? Who's in it? They're playing the Rockies tonight, but the Rockies are so bad that they have broken through my like my ignorance. Like I am forced to deal with and contend with the Rockies because they have been such a bad team that they're showing up in my feeds for consistently breaking records and things like that.
Oh, that's fun.
They are.
Were they ever like a very good team?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, they went to the World Series once.
Wow.
And they lost. They lost there, but they had a season where they were unbelievable. It was like, it wasn't like a full season thing either. It was like towards the end of the season, they just came on. And they were really good, and everyone was like, "Yeah, Rockies, Rocktober." And then they shit the bed in the World Series. But this season, like what I've just heard is that they first of all, I saw a game where they got beat by I think 16 runs. I was boy. Oh, that's probably not good. And then other people saying the Rockies are statistically eliminated from the playoffs. For anyone who doesn't follow the season,
that can't be.
of baseball. Their inaugural games just happened like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
But they just had a series with the Padres where not only did they get swept by the Padres, a series means that they play multiple games. For anybody listening who doesn't know this stuff, they got played multiple games. The Padres got swept. Not only did they get swept, they got shut out. The Rockies didn't score a single run in every single game with the Padres, and I think that is a franchise record. So they're going to play the Dodgers, who are a good team. And I'm gonna watch them tonight. I'm gonna watch the Rockies get absolutely annihilated. And I'm gonna get to the bottom of what's going on.
Yeah,
I'm gonna figure out if this is just like Ronan's team playing against the Dodgers or what the fuck happened.
Are you going with Ronan? Is it a family thing or is it a buddies thing or a work thing?
This one is a buddies thing. I got tickets to 2 different games. I went to a exhibition game against the Angels at the beginning of the season, and that was very, very fun. That was the first game that Gilly had ever gone to because Gilly's playing baseball this season. So Ronan and Gilly and my wife, we all went to the game. We sat behind home plate. In fact, you can see us in the broadcast feed.
Wow.
Because we're that close behind home plate that when every time that like the pitcher pitches, you can look and you'd be like, there they are. Oh, Gilly must have gone and gotten some cotton candy right there because she's not there for that one by herself. Or, but we're back there. Now, this other one, I don't really know where we're sitting, but this one I'm taking buddies to because it's 7 o'clock, like 7 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
And the kids just can't hang. They can't hang that late.
Sure. And baseball is boring.
It's deeply boring.
It's a lot of
for them.
Yeah.
I'm coaching Gilly's team, and it's unraveling pretty quick. Gilly's got a t-ball team. At the beginning of the season, the kids listened to me. They would do what I said, and I would be like, "Hey, here's what we're doing. Here are the things." And now they've realized that baseball is a bunch of just waiting around, and they're like, "Fuck this."
Yes, absolutely not. Kids, I implore you, do what I did. Really strike gold and get moved to the right field.
Yeah.
Every season of your life. And use that time for quiet reflection. Check in with yourself.
The luxury seats.
That's a lot of time. Nothing's coming your way. Just really find out who you are and find out what you want in this life. Realize pretty quickly it's not baseball, but enjoy the space for thoughtful contemplation that right field affords you. If I could, it'd be so much cheaper than therapy or meditation if I could just join a baseball league and have like 4 hours of uninterrupted time to just stand outside and think. Man, that would be great to get that back.
Oh, that is the dream. There are a shocking number, both on Ronan's team and on Gilly's team, of kids that are lefties. More than when I was a kid. I'm wondering if maybe this is like an autism type of thing where it's not actually any different than it ever was, but we've just trained it. We were training it out of people. Yeah, like we used to like really make people not do it when we were younger. If they're like, "You're lefty," no, that's the devil's hand. We're not using that one.
Right. All the kids that got suspended for acting out when they were really just left-handed because we didn't have the vocabulary yet. Ma'am, your son is cutting paper like a fucking asshole, and we can't stand it. So we can't.
It's gross. We don't like it. I mean, he's not doing it wrong, but we don't. It's disgusting to look at. It's not fun.
He seems to be struggling with it. He's frustrated. So Anyway, that's why we banished him to the library for a while. We told him he's not allowed to talk to anyone. So
we found a little hack. Yeah, we found a little hack for it. He was writing with his left hand, smearing the ink everywhere. But we've got this fun little hack we do where we hit him with a ruler, and that went pretty good.
We thought if we made him feel like a freak in front of his classmates, that eventually he would get over this. But he's not.
He's not doing it.
No more school for him.
You're gonna have to keep him in a room. Yeah, I don't know. It's very strange. My dad was always a left-handed writer, and everything else he did in the world was right-handed, which feels like that's like a attention grab thing. Yeah. It's got to be. There's no way you learn it and then you're like, this will be my thing. This is a shorthand to a personality.
I think that's attention grab, or that's like accidentally grabbed a pencil with the wrong hand and then just has been too embarrassed to admit it ever since then. I was like, nope, this is how I've always done it.
To do it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I do remember some left-handed kids when I was in school, and they would do this thing where it made me think, you're not actually left-handed, where they'd like try and like write, their wrist would get super bent over and they'd start writing backwards. So basically their index finger and their middle finger were like facing their body again. Mm-hmm. Like they're going over the top of the words to write it. And I'm like, no. Yeah, I can fix that. Listen, you're right-handed. I can help you. We could have knocked this out in 2 weeks.
Yeah. Listeners, you know me. I've got a dog. His name is Jackson. He is 13 years old, and he is one of the top 2 most important people in my life, and certainly in my home. He is great. We've been through a lot together, and I am always thinking about keeping him alive and healthy and happy as much as possible all the time. Today's episode is sponsored by the ASPCA Pet Health Insurance Program. When you have a pet, like I do, you love taking care of them because in their own way, they take care of you. Jackson has been looking out for me for 13 years and counting. But even if you're the best pet parent in the world, unpredictable things can happen. Fortunately, you can always give your care a boost with ASPCA Pet Health Insurance. The ASPCA Pet Health Insurance Program offers customizable accident and illness plans, making it easier for pet parents like you to help your pet get the care they may need. The ASPCA Pet Health Insurance Program has been around for over 18 years, and they've helped more than 600,000 pets during that time. Wow! They allow you to customize your plan, helping ensure that your pet's plan is as unique as they are. Because vet bills can really add up, don't I know it, especially when you're least expecting it. It's simple. Use their app to submit a claim and you'll receive reimbursement for eligible vet bills directly into your bank account. To explore coverage, visit aspcapetinsurance.com/question. That's aspcapetinsurance.com/question. Again, that's aspcapetinsurance.com/question. This is a paid advertisement. Insurance is underwritten by either Independence American Insurance Company or United States Fire Insurance Company and produced by PTZ Insurance Agency Limited. The ASPCA is not an insurer and is not engaged in the business of insurance. Soren, it's funny that you mentioned that we could see you on the broadcast because a memory came flooding back of what could probably be a halfway decent starting point for like a Goosebumps book or something. Ooh. Because we were watching a professional baseball game at home when I was a kid. And I was not watching it because I didn't care for baseball, especially on TV. But my parents and brother were like, come downstairs, watch this game. You have to see this. You are in the audience of this game. And there was a kid who, like, swear to God, looked exactly like me. And like, they're not zooming in on the kid. So, you know, obviously it wasn't me because I was there watching it, but it gave me real sincere pause as a 10-year-old or whatever age I was to come down there and be like, it can't be me. There's no way this is me. I am here. I haven't gone to a baseball game. And then I see it on TV and I'm like, well, sure, shit looks like me. That definitely looks like I'm there at that game. So let me really think because I either have a twin or I was at that game and this is pre-taped because like the kid was like wearing a shirt that I had, just like some striped little boy shirt, and he had my very specific messy mop of hair, and again it was far away so you couldn't see his face, let alone his heart, but he didn't seem into it the way that I like. He was engaging with this game the way I would were I there. And it was my whole family being like, I mean, it's not you, but
It sure looks like.
But
you.
like, who else could it be?
Are we sure that it wasn't 31-year-old Bob Hoskins?
That is a reference to something that I don't know.
No, I just mean.
Oh, because you think I look like that's
Hoskins.
right.
And if
because
when he's 31, you would also maybe still look like Bob Hoskins.
Because we famously had cracked commenters that were like, you know who you look like, and I'm just like, please,
Don't be gentle. Be gentle.
Please. Bob Hoskins.
Oh, that's a rough
Wrong.
one. That's a that hurts a little.
Wrong, and you know it was wrong. Don't even tell Bob Hoskins he looks like Bob Hoskins.
I'm just trying to hurt you. That's horrifying. That's horrifying, especially it would the fact that it's a live event too makes it even worse. I really like that as the like start to something.
Yeah.
But it wasn't you.
No, we're to this day pretty sure it wasn't me. Almost, I would say 98% positive.
I mean, there's so many people on Earth. There's gonna be somebody out there, and this does happen. You know, you see somebody who finds their supposed, like, not like their actual twin, but they find somebody who looks just almost identical to them, and you're like, yeah, I mean, surely at a certain point the genes run out of faces.
Right. There's only so much you can do.
Yeah, they're very obviously inspired work so far. I'm very impressed with what they do. They're good at good inventions thus far. Yeah. But yeah, again, eventually you got to start like digging back into the pile and say, well, what worked before? What worked? This one was good.
God's up in heaven deciding what people are going to look like, and he's really out of ideas. And it's 1986 when I'm born, and he sees there's a chance there's another kid being born around that same time. He's like, what are the odds these two are going to run into each other? It's the past. They live in different states. There's no way these two are going to be like, hey, that's the same face. No one's going to notice if I just reuse the same little blueprint on these kids. And then fast forward 10 years, and I'm like, oh, fuck, he's watching that. Oh, it's a live baseball. Oh, no.
I should have seen this coming. I, of all people, should have seen this coming.
Why did I think New York and New Jersey were the farthest places two people could be? There are way more places.
Yeah, he's like throwing the faces down from the clouds, and two get stuck together like playing cards. And he's like, oh, I threw two down that were the same. Yeah. I'm sure it won't come up.
Well, I wonder about my twin, and I wonder what he looks like now and how his body's doing. Soren, because mine, I can tell you, is not doing great.
Oh, man. Is this going to be another... We got another injury podcast. Injury podcast update.
We're going to have to cut that out because it's the same injury. It's not a different injury. So I don't know if we can use that.
Yeah, probably not fair to use it.
that sound
why don't you
escape.
Why don't you just give me a refresher on where we stood last time and where we're going.
I hurt my back. I want to say we're saying like 9 months ago.
Yeah.
We're saying over the summer I hurt my back.
Oh yeah.
That's certainly where like I felt a pinch, but there's also a part of me that is like, there's a chance we've always been in pain. And I can't been there. I can't say that to the doctor. So we triangulated it on last May and traced it to a very specific sports related injury when I was working out at a new gym. And I let 9 months go by, as you do, and then I met with a doctor, did an x-ray, and the x-ray was fine, but he still said you should get an MRI and you should start physical therapy. So I've been doing the physical therapy, and I did the MRI. And you've gotten an MRI before?
Oh yeah, recently, yeah. I've gotten a couple. Yeah.
This was my first time, and this is not the kind of thing, not to make anyone else feel less than. This is not the kind of thing that makes me nervous. An MRI is I've seen people freak out in and around them. But for me, this is like, so you're saying I sit still in a little tube with headphones on and just relax and I'm not allowed to move? That's fucking cake.
It's right field all over again for you.
I'm going to do so much thinking out here. And the guy gets me on the thing, and he gives me a little like ball attached to a cord. And he says, this is emergencies only. You hold on to this. I'm going to put it in your right hand. You hold on to it. If you freak out in there, if you start to feel any pain or like you really need to get out, you squeeze this, and that's going to send a signal to me in the other room, and then I will stop and I will get you out. We want you to do this instead of like, because you can't scream and you can't start like wobbling. This is your way of signaling me. And I was like, that's great, no problem. I lay on my back. I'm holding the thing in my hand. As soon as it rolls back, the cord gets stuck in the machine, and I literally drop the ball because it can't like come with me. And even that, I was still like,
your lifeline.
This is how I wanted this to go. Don't give me fucking training wheels. Don't give me a way to let you know I need help. I was never gonna need help, sir. I am fine in here. So I enjoy my little meditation.
How long were you in there for? Do you know?
Minutes. I wouldn't say approaching 10 minutes. Somewhere between 5 and 10, probably.
Oh, that sucks. Okay. All right.
And then they give you the results of your MRI on a CD-ROM. And
cool.
It's like a piece of physical
You can play
media.
that right in your trash can.
I know. And I had to give that to the doctor and then like go over it with the doctor. And that's where we learned it's a bulge disc and a herniated disc on my right side, which I'll walk you through the entire experience, which sucks because I think I mentioned before that I didn't like this doctor. I continue to not like this doctor. And he shows the stuff on a screen, and it's an MRI of me, and it all just looks like weird blobs to me. As he must know, it looks like weird blobs. Because there's the deck is stacked so heavily in his favor, because he is the one who gets to teach me what things are supposed to look like. So then he can tell me,
this is wrong.
This is wrong. And that seems unfair to me, because he's like, this blob, you see this blob over here? I'm like, yes, this is a good blob. You see this blob over here that's different? That's a bad blob. And I was like, sure. If what you're saying is true about the first blob, then yes, it follows that this blob is worse. But sir, I don't know these blobs. I've never seen them before. I've never seen healthy blobs. I only have your word to go on here and this inscrutable CD-ROM. But he points out my blobs, and this blob is bad and that blob's good. And he's saying a bunch of things that I'm trying to write down in my phone. And I'm sure that's putting him off a little bit, because he's probably thinking like, I'm going to go to WebMD or whatever. But I'm really just like trying to write things down so I could talk to my occupational therapist brother, so I could tell my parents exactly what it is that he is saying. And it's a bunch of words that I've never heard before that I'm trying to like phonetically represent in a notes app very quickly. Yeah. Because he's just like, this is wrong, this is bad, this is fucked up. You can continue with stretching and physical therapy as you've been doing. Option 2 is you can get injections. Option 3 is surgery. And then he looks at me like, so what's it gonna be? I was like, oh, would you mind like emailing me all the words you said and all the things? He's like, yeah. They'll give you a piece of paper at the front desk. Stretching might work, but if you've been living with this for 9 months, and I'm like, totally, that means I can live with it forever. And he's like, no, that means you should do something.
Is it gonna get worse?
But it's been proven that it won't kill me. So history says that makes me stronger. And he was, I wish I had a different doctor or more doctors or more time with him, because the only thing is he explained about the other options were like the baseline medical risk of it. It was like an injection, there's some risk because it's a needle going in. And so there might be some like bleeding at the spot. And then the surgery, there's even more risk because there are risks when you do surgery. Yeah. I was like, no, but I don't mean like, am I going to get infected from an untreated needle wound? I want to know, like, what are you putting in me? What's it for? What are any of these things? But I don't even think to ask those questions, because he so clearly wants this to be done. And he wants me to call him when I want surgery. because he loves surgery. And
he's got to clean that. Like you've eaten your meal, and that waiter needs to turn that table over, man.
Yeah. He's got a lot of to see. Got a lot of blobs that he needs to educate people on. And one of the things that he explained to me as he's showing me the blobs, he was like, now think of this part of your back like a jelly donut. The jelly has been squeezed out of the donut. I was like, okay, that's a helpful visual metaphor. And I get in my car and I'm texting my OT brother about this, saying like the L4, L5 spine and this happened and I've got all these options. And he says, yes. Basically, the jelly is out of the donut. I'm like, they fucking teach this at med school. That guy didn't come up with a clever, helpful visual metaphor.
Yeah. There's a whole day where they're like, all right, you're going to get some fucking idiots who
Yeah.
don't understand anything about the human body. You have to talk to them as though it's food.
I know, this is going to seem crazy, but like, you know how a spine works, but these morons, you got to tell them this part's the Oreo and this part's the jelly donut. And could you imagine how bad it would be for an Oreo to not have cream? They'll understand that. That'll teach them the severity of it.
They so clearly do that. Yeah.
They couldn't handle it.
It's the same with like OBGYNs where they're like, your baby right now in gestation is about 2 pounds. And people just give them these blank stares and they're like, it's the size of a pineapple. Oh, I know pineapples. It's always fruit. They're always like, all right, what have you held before? Oh, you fucking pour shit in your maw every single day? All right, one of those things. One of the things you eat.
I think for the purposes of my back, I would like him to spend a little more time teaching me how the body works and not in food metaphors. Because if there's jelly out of a donut, mop it up and throw out the donut. This is a part of my body. And I'm like, but in this, I'm going to ask you a thing that I would never ask someone who squeezed too hard on a donut. I'm going to ask, can we get the jelly back in? Do we want to get the jelly back into the donut? Please?
Yeah. I assume that's what the injection would be, and like the surgery.
I don't know.
I could see myself in that situation if he was like, hey, this jelly's all been squeezed out of the donut. I would be like, good, that's wonderful. I don't like jelly in donuts. I like the donut part. So I'm better off, right?
So it's basically like an old-fashioned donut. Oh, that's great. Traditional, that's good. Yeah.
Because I was worried when you said jelly originally, I got very apprehensive because I find them very cloying. I don't like them.
Yeah. Especially if it's like Dunkin' Donuts, you know that's not real jelly. You know it's just like loaded with sugar and preservatives and a bunch of shit that we're not supposed to have.
Forget the donut. Forget the donut. Okay, so I'm assuming that like they basically they can inject you. I've seen spinal injections before because don't mean to brag. I've seen a lot of those just because my wife has been pregnant, and if you get an epidural, they do that, and it's scarier than I thought it would be. It's a big long needle, and they're like, you cannot move or you will be paralyzed the rest of your life. Don't move while we do this. And it's going to hurt and it's going to feel strange and you might want to flinch. Don't flinch. So they inject that in your spine. I assume that just like they could just like fill it. It's just like injecting a donut with jelly, I assume. And then the surgery would be putting something like more substantial in there in between the two pieces of the spine so they don't rub against each other. Is that right? You don't know.
I have a bunch of questions out to the doctor that I spent time working on, and hopefully he'll get back to me. But you know, it's been a couple of days, and so far, no.
And in the meantime, are you running?
Yes, and I'm still doing. I am and have been doing physical therapy, and I like my PT a whole lot. And she went over the results with me as well, and is going to try some stretching things. She has warned that there's a chance. We've cut my running down from 5 days a week to 3 days a week, and she warns that if we're not seeing progress, then we can talk about reducing that even more, which I don't want to do, especially when I've got the worst precedent imaginable, which is the fact that I've had this for 9 months. I've oh God, idiot. The fact that like, you know, a PT and a doctor will say like, well, you can reduce your running. I was like, well, no offense, but I ran a half marathon on this. I think I can run. I think it's okay.
Yeah.
And they'll say, no offense, you're in constant pain. So how okay is it? that's sort of the impasse I think that we're at.
I love the art of PT.
Yeah,
that's great. Connoisseurs of the show will know that I love the idea of physical therapy, even if you're not injured. Just like hopping in there and being like, what am I doing wrong?
It's great. It's great to I shouldn't have needed to be told that I haven't been stretching for 39 years.
Yeah.
But it's good information to have now.
Yeah,
and good explanation.
There's been a reckoning.
Yeah. Why I am so tight and inflexible all the time, despite the nothing that I've tried to address it. Yeah. We'll see where it all goes. Again, like we said before about wanting doctors, I want to track down this baseball clone of mine because I want impossible things. I want another 39-year-old who had this same injury around this same age and is at my level of running and physical activity, that I can talk to them about what worked for them, because the internet is useless. And there are some people I know who've like, oh, they got a herniated disc when they were in their 50s or whatever. And I would like to know, like, it's someone who was in my exact same position, if they did the injections and if that worked for them, and what I can expect from all of this. Like that. But
man, what you're describing at every single turn here, I'm like, yes, doctors should do that. Doctors should have that. Like, first of all, with the MRIs, like when the doctor shows you an MRI, they should also be like, and here's one of a healthy person.
Yeah.
Here's one that we took of somebody who's a hypochondriac who came in and we said, you don't need anything, but they wanted an MRI anyway. And we gave them one. So here we go. Here's that one up next to yours. Look at theirs. See how that's different? And you can be like, ah, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I do see now. That would be a great thing for them to do. If I was just, you don't tell me who it is, but you're allowed to show me somebody else's MRI and be like, that's what it's supposed to fucking look like. Or do themselves. Put themselves through an MRI machine. Yeah. And then also, the only way you're going to find people who are in the exact same boat as you is doctors breaking their Hippocratic oath. It's doctors being like, I've seen this before. Here's a list of people who are in the same boat as you. Contact them.
Yeah. Because you're not allowed to do that.
But imagine, for something that's even, heaven forbid, much worse, those groups of people have to find each other. And like, there's a lot of work that goes into finding somebody else who has the same debilitating or degenerative disease as you and being like, okay, who else has this? Who else is dealing with this? If doctors could just be like,
I know. Or we could put it more on the patients. I mean, when I had wrist surgery a couple of years ago after I broke my wrist, that was another case where the doctor was like, you could do XYZ, surgery was an option, wearing a cast for a long time was an option, and PT after the cast, and I think some other option. And I had early on suggested that I didn't want to do surgery. And when the doctor found out about that, called me and was like, I think you really want to do surgery. And he like walked me through it, and it was great. And I'm glad I did that surgery and have a metal plate in my wrist now forever. I wish there would have been an option when I had finished the whole thing to be like, and doc, if you want, you can put me down as someone who picked surgery. If your future patients are unsure and they want like an idiot to talk to them, they can 100% call me and I will tell them. Better than like reviewing a doctor online to just like get a phone call and be like, oh yeah, let me tell you, quick surgery, a little bit of PT, it's great, highly recommend it.
That's what, you should be like, all right, and I want to check the little box that says, if you have other patients in the same circumstance, they can contact me, or like they can hear my story. Because a lot of it also is the hospital's doing what they can with thousands and thousands of people coming in every single day. Like they're barely like holding it together, and it's up to you to kind of like figure out what works for your particular body as well.
Yeah.
So like something like tendonitis. I've had tendonitis in my elbow before. I had to go to a doctor first to then go to PT. Like they had to recommend a PT to me before I was even allowed to go to PT so I could get it covered. But I know how to fix tendonitis now. Like I know in my own arms, like what worked at PT, what didn't work, and what worked on my own. And so if somebody was like, suddenly started to get tennis elbow, I could be like, oh, dude, I got you. Here's what works. Here, try this out for a while. And if it doesn't work, this is the other thing they recommended to me. It fucking sucked for me. I didn't like this one, but hey, I know it still.
Yeah.
I like that idea a lot.
I wonder if I would know if I had tendonitis.
You would.
I would?
Yeah,
okay,
you know.
cool.
Yeah.
That's certainly the other thing that has changed since Schrodinger's diagnosis has now been confirmed.
Good one. Good way to describe it.
Having a name to it has changed my behavior completely. I'm so much more aware of it and much more tender with myself and with everything because it's got a name, a scary name. And it wasn't just what it's been the last 9 months of just like this weird constant pain. Now it's like, oh, it's a thing. I thought before maybe there was a chance I was just being a baby, but now it's got a name. I should really look after it.
Do you know if it's, I mean, I understand what a hernia is generally, I think. It's where like some gut slipped through the muscle basically. But with a disc, a herniated disc, what's getting in there? Do you know?
I don't know.
What's peeking out?
I don't. Maybe if I can get this doctor back on the blower, I can ask these questions. It's confusing enough that herniated disc before I got the diagnosis was what I suspected and what I was worried about.
Surely, I can just look it up.
He was showing me the blobs, and then when I gave my results to the PT, she said, "I don't think it's the disc that's causing you this pain. I think something that she described was very narrow." And it's so narrow that it's pinching on nerves. And I think that's what's giving you the pain. And all of this is just like, medical professionals, don't fight. Just the two of you, please figure out which of my things is causing the pain and how we fix it. But
I just
all of that is my way of saying, like, I don't know exactly what's going on back there, even though I've seen all these blobs on a CD-ROM.
Yeah, I figured it out. I see what it is now. People are probably screaming on their... Like, just look online, Soren. Just look online. But like, yeah, you do get like these like rubbery discs that sit in between your spine bones, so they don't grind against each other. And some of that rubber just slips out, and it like pushes on a nerve. It pinches a nerve.
Yeah.
And then it's super painful, I guess.
It is. And I will say to the people yelling at their phones or their screens to look online, Soren, and they're probably saying I should look online if I'm trying to find other 39-year-olds. I can't be alone in this very old man thing to say. The internet has gotten so much worse. And I don't even just mean about like social media, what that has done. I mean that like the tech companies have deprioritized making the user experience good or functional
giving you what you're asking for. Yeah.
Making more money and cutting more corners and whatever it is that tech companies value these days. It's a full-blown worse experience. It's harder to find the things that you're trying to find on Google. The search has just gotten measurably worse in our lifetime. And the reason that I'm asking a doctor questions that I want to talk to a physical person who's been through this is because the internet's so unreliable and difficult to navigate.
Yeah. Yeah. And also, I mean, even if you get onto these forums and stuff where you're not going to encounter the people are going to be like, yes, I also had this slipped L4, L5 disc. And you'd be like, okay, great. How are you solving it? And they're like, well, I don't walk. I can't, I don't walk. And so I can't, and now it's fine. So I'm just going to decide to live with it because I don't walk. And you're like, that's not practical advice for me. Right. You're so different. You're so different than what I'm dealing with. And you need somebody who's your clone. You need somebody who's a mirror image of you and be like, okay, you're the one. How did you deal with it?
So if you're listening, kid who looked like me in 1997 and went to a Yankee game, and this also happened to you, and you got some advice, please dial the number at the bottom of the screen.
I got it. You mentioned that in MRI machines, how peaceful it is. I have gotten 2 MRIs in my within the past year. One was for when I completely tore apart the tendon in my knee, or tore the tendon from the muscle.
Right.
And then the other time was I thought I had a hernia. I thought I had this crazy pain in my hip. Down in the joint where my knee or where my leg meets my hip, and I was like, I couldn't sit for long periods of time.
And I remember it turned out it wasn't a hernia. It was basically imagine in your hip there's a hot dog, and the meat was running perpendicular to the bun instead of in parallel with it. That's so you understand. You can't have that.
Yeah. I just got some tongs and I switched it. I just
that's
turned
what
it
you
90
gotta
degrees
do.
and it was fine. I didn't know what it was, and I was like, I thought it was a hernia, and I was like, well, I better get on the interwebs and see whether this is like something I need to go fix. And they're like, yeah, hernias can just get worse if you don't fix them. And I was like, fuck.
Yeah.
So I went in, got an MRI, and both times they've had MRIs, the first one for that muscle was like, it took like 45 minutes. This last one was a little quicker, but I also had it once when I broke open my face at my bachelor party in a pool. I split my face open.
Oh yeah.
So I've had MRIs, and every single time I've been in an MRI, I fall asleep within like the first 4 minutes
that's
I'm
pleasant.
in there. And even the rocking, because they're slowly like moving you back and forth in an MRI, and they gave me the option. The first few times they're like, "You want some music?" And I was like, "Sure." And they just put on anything. And these last couple times I've gone in, now that it's not my first rodeo anymore, they're like, "What do you want to listen to?" And I'm like, "Buddy, it does not matter, because whatever you put on, I'm not going to hear it. I'm going to go to sleep immediately."
I would have opted for no music, because they give you headphones and they just put on like light FM
like
basically. And the machine itself is very loud. And to do it completely over again, I'd be like, save the headphones. Like I want the hum of the machine, please. Yeah. That's more meditative to me than a fucking Kings of Leon song. That's gonna
don't use up all your music on me. Yeah. Save that music. Put it back on the
music
shelf.
for the cowards. I want to feel the machine's song. I want that.
I was a little nervous going in the last couple times, because they were like, "What do you have any metal in your body?" And I was like, "No." And they're like, "Think about it. Do you have any metal in your body? Because it could be really, really bad in there if you do." And I was like, "Oh shit." Steven Inverso stabbed me with a pencil when I was in third grade. There might be some lead in there. Yeah. But like every single time I'm like, okay, no, I don't. And then like they saw that button on my jeans and they were like, "You might just want to unbutton that." And I was like, "Really? Okay." And then the guy was like, "And while you're in there, don't cross your fingers. Mm-hmm. Don't like overlap your fingers to each other." Anyone who doesn't know what I'm doing right now, it's like prayer hands. And don't cross your arms, because you can create a current and then you can shock yourself horribly. And people get in that box and they naturally want to like wrap up, because they're like, "Oh, I don't want my elbows hitting the ends." I've done this before in a plane and it worked out. And so they wrap their bodies up, and then I guess you get really badly shocked.
Man,
if you do that.
I didn't get any of this advice from my guy. I guess that's what happens when you get an MRI at like 5:45 on a Thursday, where it's like, we're not. Yeah, I've done so many of these today. I'm ready to go home.
He was at the top brass of the MRI guys at the time.
He gave me like, "Do you have any metal in your body?" And I was like, "Yes." And he's like, "Should be fine." And it was.
They were so careful with me. And also, as much as I've shit on hospitals, I shouldn't shit completely on them, because hospitals have saved me multiple times, and I'm in a debt to doctors. Yeah. I will say that. Like, doctors have done really good things for me.
They save some people who aren't even you.
Yeah, some other ones too.
That's what they mostly do.
When when I'm sitting there and I'm waiting to go get an MRI, and there's a very long period of waiting, they come to you with a wheelchair. And they're like, "You got to get in the wheelchair." And I'm like, "No, I don't. I can walk there." And they're like, "Unfortunately, you have to get in the wheelchair." And they would take me, and then the MRI machine was in like it had its own modular, like it was its own big machine. Like the machine was basically fit on the back of a truck. Mm-hmm. And then they take me up a platform, which I'm not allowed to get out of the chair for. And then at the top, I'm allowed to get out of the chair. But I was treated very much like a king, where I was like, "I don't want it." And they're like, "You got to. And here's a warm blanket that we're going to put on you." And I was like, "I don't." Okay, yeah.
I take the blanket, of course.
I agree. This is sweet.
I will shit talk this doctor a little bit more, and then we can move on.
Yes.
I've never had a medical professional of any kind who was less interested in what happens next to me.
Yeah.
He is fully. His job was to solve the medical mystery of what's wrong with my back, and he did that, and is ready to tackle the next puzzle. And am reminded of doctors like the one about my wrist who called and was like, no, this is the thing that you should do. And I know it's expensive and like you're worried because we would have to do the surgery in California and you live in New York, but like this is the one you should do. And if you want to, like, here's how you spell my name, check my ratings online. And if you're worried about me, see for yourself. And if you don't want to use me, that's fine too. But like, this is the care you need. And my dentists in the past are you know, on top of me and making sure I get appointments and taking care of myself and noting progress. And this doctor just could not be fucked. He doesn't care when I walk out the door. If I'm walking, he's a doctor, and I'm walking out of the door in pain with no plan, and he does not care. He is just
We
not even a
diagnosed
follow-up email to be like, have you decided you've it's been a week. Have you thought about what you want your plan to be? Nothing. Absolutely nothing from this guy. Except a reply from his receptionist that was like, hey, we saw your email. He's in surgery right now. I will talk to him later with your questions. We'll see if he's got answers for your questions.
I mean, I'm sympathetic to that, but I also think maybe you're asking too much of the doctor.
What?
I think that because he diagnosed it. He knows that you're not going to die from this thing. Mm-hmm. And he's like, it's up to you how you want to solve it. But it is you. Like, you have to figure it out. And you have to be like, I get you. You're like, but you know all the things. Like, you know, like, what is the best solution for me? Here's like what I am. I'm this type of person. I'm athletic. I need to move. If I don't, I will get depressed and it will affect other parts of my body. Like, you want to be able to tell them all that stuff, but there isn't that person. There isn't like somebody that goes over that shit with you. Then there should be somebody who is also advocating on behalf of you and like who's there. You need a doula. Like you need somebody who has some medical training, but mostly is advocating just for you as a person. And they're like, you're the one. So let's figure out what's best for you. Because yes, there's a real gap. There's him who's going to diagnose it. And he's like, I've got 6 surgeries today and they are in desperate need of this. And you have to go. Right. And then you've got you who's like, this is the first I'm hearing of a spine. What are we talking about here? And so, I agree with you. There should be somebody between. 3 jobs we created on this podcast today. This should be out there.
What I need is the doctors from the Pit. Soren, are you watching Pit yet?
No, I'm still finishing ER.
Best fucking show on television. It's the only show. It rules. It's awesome. But there's a storyline where this kid gets measles and the doctors have like all their recommendations and the parents are anti-vaxxers and they're unwilling to listen to doctors and they're on Dr. Google. They're on their phone the whole time talking about what they think is best. And the doctors get so frustrated and they tell them everything. They give them so much information about how they need to do this spinal tap so they can find out what's wrong with the kid to see if it's this or it's that and do all the treatments. And they're so persuasive and so encouraging and so mad and like, oh, give me a mad doctor who thinks I'm making the wrong choice so they can set me straight. I'll take it.
Just somebody tell me what to do. Yeah. I was very blown away when I went to this orthopedic surgeon for having torn my hamstring. She was so cavalier with me. And like, usually, they're like, well, don't be on it. Don't like walk around on this for at least 6 weeks. And you're like, you don't understand that's not even feasible. I have 2 children. Like, what? She was so cool about like, I was like, it's completely torn. She's like, yeah, it's completely torn away from the tendon. It will never heal. And I was like, well, what does that mean? Like, what does that mean for running and stuff? She's like, well, you could run. And I was like, right now? She's like, if you want to. If it's sore, that's fine. If it's sharp pain, don't do it anymore. And obviously, if it's bad, come back to me. But she was just like, I was like sitting there asking her the questions, and every single one, she's like, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, go ahead. Oh, they gave you a brace at the hospital? You can leave that here if you want. You don't have to take that home with you.
Now, what about softball? The thing I did that caused this injury. Can I do that?
Yeah. She was like, what are you working back to? And I was like, everything. Snowboarding, jumping on a trampoline, jumping over a fence. Like, there's going to be a lot of things I need to jump for. She was like, okay, I think you'll be fine. I was like, cool.
I'll take that.
See ya.
This is
all right. Well,
the podcast has increasingly become an old guy podcast, but I'm hearing now that my back hurts and the internet's not as good as it used to be, and I love this medical drama with Noah Wiley. I'm 1,000 years old.
But that's going to be the reason the healthcare system's broke is because everybody's in the same boat as you. I think you're going to find like everybody is dealing with this same shit. Anyone who's listening to this podcast who doesn't have a single malady, I'm like, I want to meet that person because I don't fucking believe you that you listen to this podcast.
And you probably do have a malady and you just don't know it yet.
Yeah, your fucking L5, L7, or L6 slip disc just isn't on a nerve yet.
Yeah. Got all that jelly, but it is ready to burst.
Thank you everybody for listening.
Yeah.
Obviously me, Rex. Obviously Gabe Harder. Obviously our Patreon. If you want to watch this in video form, go to YouTube. You can also find that through Apple subscriptions. And check out our Patreon. You can do that through Apple subscriptions as well. We do a shorter version of this podcast, and we talk about some stuff that's could be career ending.
Hell yeah.
All right. Thanks. Goodbye.
Bye.
I've got a quick question for you, alright? I wanna hear your thoughts, I wanna know what's on your mind. I've got a quick question for you, alright? The answer's not important, I'm just glad that we could talk tonight. So what's your favorite? How did you get? When will I be remembered? What did I do? Where did all go? Why do we know? Oh, forget it. Soren, Daniel O'Brien, two best friends and comedy writers. If there's an answer, they're gonna find it. I think you'll have a great time here.